which leads to, so we don't spend too much time on one thing,
Yeah.
another one of their announcements, which is their unified security announcement, which is also sort of in the same vein. This idea of bringing everything together in this sort of abstraction layer to unify security across your entire platform. I'm not a security guy. I know you're not exactly either, but you probably have a better handle on it than me. I mean, how you want to summarize this for the audience and what you think about it?
Yeah, at the highest level, it's interesting to see how Google has brought together so many pieces of the puzzle. Security operations, of course, they've got the browser, threat intelligence, cloud native security with the acquisition that they have of Wix. Of course, they had previously acquired Mandiant. If you're a real security expert, you probably know a bunch of other pieces of the puzzle that Google's brought in place. But I think that it makes sense that Google has this global data fabric already. And we just talked about the networking piece of the puzzle and being able to control and protect all of those aspects of the cloud ecosystem at one time, potentially under a single umbrella. It makes a lot of sense. And Google also being able to do this at a global scale. Again, a global provider.
And not insignificantly, also applying their Gemini AI product into it as a wrapper around this to as provide, as they're calling it, semi-autonomous AI capabilities.
Mhm.
And I think this is not insignificant because unlike anybody else in the security space, other than maybe a Microsoft or an Amazon, but anyone that's a pure play security play, they're going to end up relying on one of the foundational, frontier LLMs to try to execute. And so it's going to give Google a leg up here because they're going to be able to tune their LLM natively directly to their unified security platform. And that's going to potentially make it a little bit more cohesive in their approach. So I think it's really interesting. I'm, like I said, I'm not a big security guy, but I think it's another smart play and would also be very open. The one thing I will say this too, I am increasingly hearing from CIOs that um, I would say as long as or as short of just a couple of years ago, people were pretty much, you were an AWS shop, you're an Azure shop. The rare one was an Oracle shop, right, or a Google shop. But increasingly, the well, I don't think the multi-cloud vision of people running workloads simultaneously on multiple clouds has ever really come to fruition. The idea of having multiple cloud providers for specific use cases has absolutely come to fruition. And so I think if you're someone like Google, that actually bodes very well for you. And this provides them this opportunity to create this peanut butter layer that sits on top of it all as a sort of
Mhm.
that this unified approach. And again, I think that's just a smart play for them. So I guess we'll see, and maybe people that know more about security than you and I can weigh in with more detail. But it was
Yeah,
still an
but I
interesting
do
play.
think that, in that regard, Microsoft is obviously the 800-pound gorilla here. Probably something like $20 billion in security business. Last I checked, might be even higher than that at this point. And Google's got to be looking at that and saying, well, we do a couple billion a year in security, but why not? Why shouldn't we get our rightful share as a global cloud provider?